live here. Oh yeah. What's up, everyone? Happy Friday. We already have people trickling in. Luther, I see you. What's up, my man? Today we got a very special guest, Garrett Sussman. We'll be talking about demand gen, local SEO, and content creator. So brings us to visit today's sponsor, href.com/AWT. Don't be shy, guys. Say what's up in the live chat. I see a few of you out there. Let me know where you're from. How's the weather? What are you sipping on? We got a very cool episode for you today. We got a fellow content creator. There's a lot of SEO content out there for y'all. We're gonna learn his process, how he does it, how much time he spends, because I know how much time it takes. Man. All right. You see Garrett in the chat. What's up, Garrett? Oh, man, Stefan. Happy Friday. Lovely to see you. Garrett, where are you tuning in from?
I'm from Northern Virginia.
Northern Virginia. For some reason, I thought you were out here in the Northwest, over like in Seattle or something.
Dude, I lived in San Francisco for 6 years. I missed the Bay Area, and then I worked for a company that was in Seattle. Shipped me out there a couple times, but I feel like I didn't get to live it up in Seattle.
I see. And so you're actually here in the Bay Area too? Because I'm actually from Oakland.
Oh, really? Nice. Yeah, I was in the Bay Area from 2010 to 2016 before I moved back to the East Coast. I'm a Jersey boy originally. So.
Is iPo Rank, do you guys have an office, or is it all totally remote?
Yeah, so the office is based in Brooklyn. That's where Mike and the rest of the team are. But we have got more remote. So I'm in Virginia. We have a couple folks down in Florida, Atlanta. Someone's in Kansas. A couple of people in Massachusetts. But the crew is in Brooklyn. I got to see him at some point. You've been to New York? You spent some time on the East Coast?
Probably 3 times in my life. 3 more times. I mean, when I was younger, and I was there for a speaking gig a couple years ago, but that's about it.
Dude, totally overrated. No, I think it's something you have to do. You have to experience New York at some point. You have to experience DC, but I lived an hour from New York City all my life, and I always felt way overwhelmed when it came to, being in the city. It was too much. San Francisco doesn't feel like that.
Did you actually live in San Francisco?
Yeah, I jumped around a couple different neighborhoods. Ended up in the Mission for 4 years.
Lovely. That's an awesome place.
Yeah, dude, I miss it. Do you miss Oakland?
I'm here still in Oakland.
Oh, you are?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. No, I was just actually, I still have my place in Oakland. I actually moved out more to the suburbs. Got a bigger spot, so I'm renting out the house out there, so it's just chilling out here.
How's the Bay doing? I haven't been out there since, post-pandemic and all that. Everyone leave?
Yeah. San Francisco's not the same. San Francisco's definitely not the same. I don't even like driving and parking my car there. I just will go other places, other cities in the Bay.
Yeah, dude. Safety and homeless population, and it sounds rough.
Yeah. No. A lot of stuff. A lot of drama.
Well, drama everywhere, right?
Yep. All right, guys. Today we'll be talking about demand gen, becoming a content creator, and local SEO. All some cool things that our very special guest today, Garrett Sussman, has to talk about. Don't forget to visit today's sponsor, hrefs.com/AWT. Don't be shy, guys. I see you out there. Say hi in live chat. Let me know what you're drinking. You drinking anything, Garrett?
No, I should. I'm a coffee guy, so it's like nothing spiked. Just doing my iced coffee. Although I left it downstairs. It's been a busy day. How about you?
Yeah. I'm drinking coffee. I drink decaf because I drink it all day, so it's like it'll keep me going. And sparkling water. I'm actually installing a kegerator, but not for alcohol. Not for alcohol, but it's just for sparkling water because I love sparkling water so much. I'm gonna make my own sparkling water machine.
Dude, I respect that. Now, do you just go straight or do you flavor it?
I just put a little salt and some carbonate, and then I have the flavors, from Italian sodas. You can just pump in there if you want.
What's your go-to? What's your go-to flavor?
Right now, just nothing, just lime and water. So I have the flavors just for anyone that comes by that needs soda. I'm like,
okay.
Oh, Stefan, and you're enjoying herbal tea. What's up? Hey, Bradley Brownie from Canada. All right, guys. We got about 1 minute, 30 seconds to go. Let me go ahead and start getting things ready here. We have a lot to talk about. A lot of cool things. We're going to talk about how SEO plays in demand gen. Because for those, I know this is an SEO video show, or this is an SEO show, but demand gen plays a big part in a lot of enterprise companies, and SEO is a big part of that. And sometimes they separate it. You'll have someone that does SEO and not be part of demand gen, be part of performance marketing, totally different things. But we'll talk more about a demand gen role with our boy Garrett today, our very special guest Garrett Sussman of iPullRank, and we'll be talking about how he is a content creator here in the SEO industry. He's been producing content for quite some time now. He has his own podcast and ranks, and has the Rankable podcast, which we'll talk about. So some cool stuff. Be sure to visit today's sponsor, hrefs.com. We got about 30 more seconds to go, so I'll see you guys on the other side. All right, so Garrett, I'm going to put you on mute, and then I'll unmute you when we're ready to end this. Okay. All right, guys.
Get it started, no delay, let's work. Wanna see you be an SEO expert. Paul Andre De Vera, steady dropping knowledge. Over 15 years in the game, so he knows all about it. Master the art of SEO, you will be amazed. Time to get your brand off page to on page. Dropping knowledge, legendary for sure. Whether you're just getting started or self-employed entrepreneur. Yeah, let's go. Subscribe to the SEO video show.
Hey, welcome to another episode of the SEO video show where SEO is alive and fun. My name is Paul Andre De Vera, aka Dre, and I curate SEO videos released in the past week into about 1 minute clips. My favorite part of the show is when I get to introduce my guest, and my guest today is the demand gen manager at iPullRank, Garrett Sussman. Before we get started, let's say what's up to everyone in chat. I see Garrett, Bradley, Stefan, Kobe, Stefan Fletcher. What's up, everyone? Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Now let's get on with the show.
This is Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man. Why are SEOs good at game shows? They know how to get quick answers.
Does Google ignore hashtags in a URL?
Malik asks us about URLs with a number sign or a hash symbol in them. Are they ignored? Well, the short answer is that yes, most of the time, the part behind the hash symbol is ignored by search engines. Taking a step back, these URLs are used when you want to link to a specific section of a page. The part before the hash symbol is the address of the page, and the part after the hash symbol is the reference to that specific location. When it comes to crawling and indexing, it's all the same page, so only the beginning of the URL is used. There is one exception, which is when JavaScript on the page does something special with those URL fragments.
Using hashtags to create jump links for long-form content is a great way to guide the crawlers. And we've heard from some experts that it can also help with passage indexing. All right, so what are some benefits of having multiple sitemaps? By Katherine Nwanorue on RankRanger. Let's check it out.
Currently, Google supports 50,000 URLs in a single sitemap, or a sitemap size of 50 MB uncompressed maximum, whichever one you hit first. This doesn't mean that if you have 50,000 URLs that you should list all of them in one page. No, this is not really a good practice, because it could make it difficult for you to troubleshoot issues. Like you would have no idea of sections of your website that are having indexing or crawling issues, that like sections where site engines and crawlers are not really getting into. So ideally, you should segment your sitemaps by sections. Let's say, for example, you have an e-commerce website, right? You could create one single sitemap for your static pages, that's the About Us page, terms and conditions, and then different sitemaps for your category pages. This way you can easily spot issues and filter down in the indexing reports on Google Search Console the sections of your website that are not getting crawled and indexed as they should.
Breaking down sitemaps not only helps with better indexing, but it can also help with international pages and making sure they show up in the right regions. Measuring EAT with Lily Ray on Whiteboard Friday. Let's check it out.
You can have the expert Google their own name, and you can say, are you satisfied with the way that it looks on Google? We can influence that. And if you really go deep into this strategy, you can ultimately help them get included in Google's knowledge graph, which is definitely something people love to show off. You know, when you Google your name, you get all this great information directly on Google about the expert. And I believe that, you know, tying it all together, when you have experts who Google understands who they are, Google understands all these attributes about them and how much they can be trusted in a certain area, I believe that that process is something that Google is more and more incorporating into its evaluation and who gets to rank for certain keywords. So tying it all together, I think expertise is becoming increasingly important. EAT is extremely important, especially for your money or your life websites. It's not going anywhere. It's something that Google references throughout much of its documentation. And so think about, you know, not taking shortcuts when it comes to demonstrating EAT, but really kind of doing an overhaul of your content strategy to make sure that real experts are collaborating with you in the content process.
I follow EAT best practices religiously and apply them to even my own video SEO strategies. Be sure to watch the full video to get all the knowledge bombs Lily provides. All right, how to steal a featured snippet by Matt Diggity. Let's check it out.
Boils down to a two-step process. First, you want to replicate the format that the snippet is using, and then you want to improve upon it. Let's start with replicating the format. Going back to the Best Rank Tracker Tools snippet, you'll see that we have a title up here at the top, what are the best rank tracker tools, and then an ordered list of different tools. Google is actually extracting this data from their content. Here's an H2 in their article, what are the best rank tracker tools, and each of these numbered tools is an H3, which Google is using to make that list. So if I want a shot at the snippet, I need to do something similar. Other times you might get a table in the featured snippet, so you need to do the same. And sometimes the snippet is as simple as a sentence that they extracted from an article, as with this keyword, organic SEO consultants. And as before, you need to create the same format in your content for a shot at the snippet. But just because you copy the format, it isn't a guarantee that you'll get it. You need to improve upon it. Here's a few tricks. The first is to optimize the nearest heading. Going back to Best Rank Tracker Tools, you see up here that they have what are the best rank tracker tools right above their list. The fact that they have the keyword in that heading is a big help for them getting the snippet. I'm a dummy and I put a non-optimized dedicated rank tracker tools before my list, so it's no wonder they're superior. After a quick adjustment, bam, now my heading is optimized.
Combining the tips in this video and playing with the hashtag jump links as headings are one way you can accomplish some of these featured snippet sniping. All right, how to create local landing pages from SEO for SEO by Amanda Jordan on the Wix channel. Let's check it out.
You're not going to show up in search results without content. So focusing on the other things is not going to do any good if no one is finding your page in the first place. So focus on unique content and local content. Unique content being what can I do to differentiate this location page from the other pages on my website, and what can I do to differentiate this location page from my competitors' location pages as well. That's what I would focus on first, making sure you have accurate local content on there as well. like making sure you mention the city, mention the service area around that city, mention anything that is specific to that location that would be important for users to know about. And then after you have a page that can actually rank, let's focus on conversion opportunities and building trust. Because now that we can get people to come to this page, we have an action that we want them to do, and that is to call or to fill out a form. So let's find those places where we want to add those forms onto the website or those click to call buttons. And then we want to build trust. We want to give them the reasons why they want to, they're going to this page now. They can find us now. We need to give them the reasons why they want to fill out that form or click to call. So that's working on your reputation. That's working on trying out different lead formats to get people to convert on the page as well.
Do you know who knows a bit about local SEO? My guest today. But before we introduce our guest, here's a word from our sponsor. Are you sick of your competitors outranking you in the search results? Your solution is Ahrefs Webmaster Tools, and it's free $99. This isn't one of your 14-day free trial offers. Instead, it's a super powerful tool that'll do a full website audit for you and keep working for you for free. It'll scan your site and prioritize precisely what you need to fix and improve for your search results. Visit ahrefs.com webmaster-tools for this free tool. Find the link below, and by checking our sponsors, you support this show. Now let's introduce our guest. Garrett pulls rank by attracting and nurturing best clients. He's a hipster in tech wearing worn oversized hoodies. He has had over a decade of experience in digital marketing. He has been the head of marketing at Tragic and is currently the manager at iPullRank. Please welcome the host of Regular Podcast, the SEO Weekly Video Show, Garrett Sussman. Welcome to the show.
Dude, Dre, thank you for having me, sir. You watch your stuff and it's so fun to be able to banter face to face.
Love it. Everyone give Garrett a round of applause. All right, Garrett, I'm gonna get right to it. This is the first question I ask all my SEO professionals that come on board. What is, in 1 minute or less, how does Garrett ranking on page 1 of Google?
Oh man, search intent, baby. You got to look at your query. You got to look at what are people expecting to see. And it doesn't have to be one thing, but you got to find one of those search intents and make sure that your content is helpful, it's well linked, it's well structured, it's a good user experience, and ultimately it's what the person's looking for.
Love it. First knowledge bomb of today. Okay. Let's rewind this real quick. Hold on. You got to take us way back into time. When did you first get into SEO?
Oh man. Well, so first off, I had like a PR sort of interaction back in 2010. I'm working for this graphic design company, and we got picked up by like ESPN, CNN, and my blog posts started to rank for this sports logo competition when they were doing the New Orleans Pelicans logo in the NBA. It was so much fun. I saw it ranking, and I was like, okay, this is interesting. Fast forward a couple of years, and I'm working for a local SEO software company that helps people get online reviews. Mm-hmm. And so the angle that we took when it came to the value of reviews was obviously to improve your business, but also the way that your Google reviews actually impact your rankings in local and showing up. And so I'm like, this is fascinating. Like, this is a really complex mechanism that's being built for when you're just searching for a restaurant near me. Mm-hmm. Like, your reviews actually influence whether you show up or not.
Oh, we'll talk more about that later on. But okay, let's see. So what part of SEO that made you all interested in it?
So I think for me, SEO it's mysterious. It's complex. It's always changing. Like just a few months ago, they had search on where they're showing all these new e-commerce features that are coming out. Mm-hmm. And when you're on mobile and you're seeing these in real time show up on your search for like products and product review updates and all that. And I was like, this is always a moving target. Like you can never just set and let SEO. And so it's just fun how you have to always keep up. You always have to stay up to date.
Yeah, I love that too. It's always something changing. And so with that, like, I mean, so how'd you actually even learn it then? Like,
oh man, so I like you, it's like SEO Twitter is my jam, right? When it comes to social, I love interacting with all of the brilliant folks who are on Twitter spouting SEO insights, and everyone is so accessible in this industry. Like you just ask someone a question. So a lot of it was, you know, homegrown, you're learning yourself. But beyond that, Aleda Solis is learning at SEO.io. And then the blogs, your sponsor, Ahrefs, SEMrush, and Moz have been my go-tos.
Love that. So you already mentioned Aleda. And was there any other people that you actually followed out there?
Oh man, there's so many people I adore. I mean, my boss, but he's brilliant, is Mike King when it comes to like technical SEO, content engineering, entity SEO. Michael King of iPullRank is, you know, just crushing. He's been doing it forever. Also, Cindy Crum of Mobile Moxie. Speaking of like entity SEO, she's always like 10 steps ahead of everybody else. So everything she's doing. Arija Bouali, I adore with Women Tech SEO, even though being a guy, I can't participate, but she's built an incredible community. And then Christina Lavasser of Media Sesh is always dropping these awesome like Google Data Studio templates and whatnot. Brilliance.
Love that. Okay. All right. Now I want to get into your journey into, you know, you were doing local SEO, you got into an agency, and then now you're at iPullRank, and you are the demand gen manager. And this is like an SEO show. So for those that don't know what a demand gen manager does, or like the role of a demand generator, can you explain what a demand generation manager does?
Well, it's funny because it's one of those terms that I think has a lot of different meanings depending on the type of organization that you're working for. But ultimately, a lot of people think about the difference between demand generation and lead generation, right? Like lead generation is only focusing on that part of the funnel that's like getting your email address and getting the leads, right? Another way to think about that is like demand capture. Demand gen is kind of the step before that. It's partially brand awareness. It's partially bringing awareness to a problem that people don't know that they have. So in the context of SEO and the buyer's journey, when you're thinking those top of the funnel types of queries, a lot of time demand generation is building awareness around, here's a problem that you might not even be aware of that you need to consider way before you ultimately get to the point of like, hey, I know the solution. I got the solution for you.
Love that. Solution for a problem, and let him know beforehand. Okay, so I'm curious, like, can you like share some strategies that you're doing now like at iPullRank to you know, make people aware of certain problems?
Yeah, so demand generation, I think, is identifying what those problems are before like the mainstream is thinking about it, as well as the different channels, the marketing channels that you're going to use in sort of an integrated way so that there's this common messaging across the entire brand. So for us, one thing that we think is really important right now that, you know, some folks are on it already, some aren't, is this recession. And how that's impacting SEO budget. The fun thing for me is I'm doing demand generation for SEO services, right? So it's like it's appropriate for the show because we all know that these are SEO issues that people need to be aware of. So right now, like our clientele are enterprise, and there are a lot of people who are slashing marketing budgets, the same thing they did during the pandemic. So even this is like the worst time for you to actually be cutting your marketing budget. And so that's something that I'm bringing demand generation around for is like, you know, everyone who cut their budget during the pandemic lost a lot of, you know, kind of momentum when it comes to SEO, and people are going to make the same mistake. So we're kind of talking about this messaging across all of our content and creating content that speaks to the idea that you shouldn't be cutting your SEO budget right now.
Love that. Okay, yeah, I wish more people would not cut it because I mean that makes more business for all of us. I mean, but at the same time, so what are some content like, or what are some like programs that you're doing now? Like, I mean, you said like are you doing like blogs? I know you have your podcast, and what are some ways?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're tying everything together through content creation that we ultimately promote through advertising and social and SEO. But the actual content we're creating, we're focused heavily on video. As you know, video is crucial in marketing, whether that's showing up in social or search. So we've created a few different programs. We have this SEO battle zone where we have Mike King, and our director of SEO, Zach Chahalis, who are like talking about, why the industry is wrong about slashing SEO, right? We did a webinar all around Black Friday and the recession and how that's like, it's important to get ahead of it there. And then we actually put together a massive ebook that is being released right now. And then also a couple of blog posts. So all these different pieces of content can be sliced and diced and used across different channels to ultimately get that message, generate demand, and then ultimately, generate leads and new customers and clients.
Excellent.
Love that. Okay, so now I'm seeing kind of like a theme here. So it's more like, even like when it comes to demand generation, it's like you have a campaign theme, right? So like it looks like the theme right now is like, for making people not cut their budgets and putting like content around that. I mean, so this can change like yearly, like seasonally, right? So you have different types of themes going on.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you can have campaigns. So you kind of want to have a couple of balls in the air. Like I like to do things quarterly in terms of a big overarching theme, but then have like a couple of mini themes like each month that can be tied to your webinars or your blog posts. For instance, a sub theme that we're doing right now, a sub campaign, if you will, is entity SEO. Okay. Right? It doesn't necessarily tie exactly into the recession, and yet it's top of mind in our industry, and you want to create demand for these subtopics, because if you're committing to just one campaign, I think that you leave, money on the table. And so we'll have kind of layered campaigns and overarching and sub campaigns.
Love that. Okay, so you talk about like, demand gen kind of be relating to like lead gen, and ultimately we want more leads. So I mean, what would you say like would be kind of like one of the best, whether it's SEO or whatever it is, like whether it's a webinar, what have been like your best lead gen like programs or like strategies going on right now?
Yeah, so I think, one thing that I'll always say to keep in mind with whether we're giving SEO advice or demand gen advice is it's always going to be specific to your unique business. Like when I'm talking about e-commerce versus a local business versus a B2B services versus an agency, like the way that we think about what is going to drive business revenue and what is going to be our key goals and our KPIs are going to be different, shorter term, longer term. So in terms of what's driving the most for us, historically for an agency, a lot of it's word of mouth. When we provide great services for our customers, then they generate. So we need to facilitate that, give them tools of our clients to tell other people. That's one part. The other big thing is conferences. I think that conferences tend to be really effective. So we get Mike on the circuit. He's been doing it for a while. We're trying to get, Zach Chahalis, our director of SEO, on some. And then ultimately through the video and the brand awareness there that we're creating.
Love it. All right. Let me drop a little knowledge bomb. So conferences, be sure to, so I want to go into something where, some content that you created, because like part of this you said like when you create demand you actually create content, and one of the ways you create content is like running the Rankable podcast, running the SEO weekly SEO video show. So that's something that I would love to talk about next on what's going on there. So with that said, how has that been like driving traffic or awareness or demand through like your podcast and show?
Yeah, well, as you know, I found that video and building awareness, especially when you are starting from scratch, takes time, right? Mm-hmm. So we are maybe like 40-ish episodes into the SEO Weekly and almost hitting 100 episodes on Rankable. And it's a very niche audience, but we've definitely seen momentum and growth. And it's funny to me because it's not always the biggest names that drive the most interest or growth. Sometimes it's like a very specific expertise that's tied into what we're offering as an agency that gets in front of the right people. Because for us, sometimes like, you know, the quantity of leads, as opposed to like when I've worked in SaaS in the past, is going to be a lower volume than like trying to just get in front of a spray and pray sort of situation. So with this, it's very useful for us, not only in terms of driving traffic to the website, driving brand awareness, getting into our marketing flywheel, but then also being collateral that both our sales team and our internal client services team can use to nurture prospects through the pipeline.
Love that. And for those that don't understand nurture through the pipeline, what can you explain that process for our folks watching the show?
Yeah, I mean, the reality is we're not always top of mind of the people who we eventually want to be our clients, right? And the way to stay top of mind is always to be producing this great content that has valuable educational information. Sometimes it's entertainment value, but ultimately it positions you as an authority on what you're doing. In our case, it's like technical SEO and audience research and all that jazz. So what we do is we want to put our fresh content in front of people who have shown interest in our company and our agency over time when it comes out, so that when the time is right for them to make their purchase, they're like, oh yeah, Garrett and Mike and Zach and I Pull Rank and that whole team, they are crushing it. We want to work with them because we have that problem right now.
There you go. Show me the money. Getting ahead of everyone right there. I love that. Love that. Okay, I want to let's kind of like take a step back real quick, because before the Wreckable podcast, you were actually doing podcasts yourself, right? You actually something going. Take us to like the history behind you becoming a podcaster.
I was, you know how they have pandemic babies? I was like a pandemic podcast situation. Like, we're in the pandemic, you want to create content, you're kind of curious about what you should be creating. I'm working for this suite of SaaS tools called Trajecta at the time that was doing a whole bunch of marketing. I mean, they had Grade Us, which did the online reviews. They had Authority Labs, which did SEO, social. And so I knew that at the time our ideal client was agencies. That was my client. And that's actually how I met Mike ultimately. But we wanted to work for agencies. And I was like, what's the best way to get in front of agencies than to have agency owners and practitioners on the podcast? So really quick, kind of like low lift type of project where I was like, you know what, I'm going to have a 30-minute conversation on Zoom with some of the best agency minds. And what we're going to do is I'm going to do a little, bubble at the beginning, a bumper at the end. We're going to do little summary blog posts. So it does have some SEO value, and we kind of establish ourselves as an entity tied to all of these agency experts, and then ultimately have the agencies come and purchase our products. And it was also honestly pure selfish that I just wanted to talk to awesome SEOs in our industry.
Love that. Okay, for those that want to get started in their own, it's never too late to start your own podcast. It's never too late to start your own show. I mean, for those that want to get started, I mean, you actually displayed the value of it because you're able to get clients by just interviewing other agencies, your target market. And for yourself, has it helped you it helped you actually because you met Mike, so that helped you actually build your career, right? So for those that want to actually get into podcasting or even starting their own YouTube shows, like what are some top tips that you can give them?
First step is do it. Don't overthink it. You look at what Dre does, and your show is incredible. You put so much effort in, and we've talked about this before. It's like hours and hours and hours, like once you get to that level. But if you're just starting, don't overthink it. Just, hop on a free Zoom, get, like a $10 version of one of like RSS or one of these podcast hosting softwares. You don't need a ridiculous mic. Like there are, maybe you want to spend like $50 on one that you find on Amazon, do your research, but just start doing it, putting it out there, and then sharing it with people. That's the other thing. You have to make sure that you promote it. You can't just expect people to discover you.
Love that. Okay, so I'm curious, just like with what you have going on, because you put out two shows or two, you have an interview show and you have your weekly news show. I mean, how much time are you putting into this? And what is your process? Because I'm curious myself.
Yeah, so we've refined it over time, and I do have help. Like I have this awesome dude I work with, Aaron Johnson, who is a senior digital marketing specialist at iPullRank, and so he does a lot of my video editing. I used to do it myself, but now that I have help, I was like, okay, so he does some slicing and dicing. I'll basically do the outreach to get the people in our industry. And to your point, as you build up your network, it becomes very easy to get people to join you because people know, that you have a podcast, that you've interviewed other people that they respect. And so I'll spend maybe like 3 hours an episode on Rankable and then significantly more on the video show, because on the SEO Weekly, I'm doing research, I'm reading the content, I'm getting graphics, I am, doing some editing there. So it definitely, as you put out a better product, I think it takes more time, even if you are improving and refining your process. So I think it depends on the quality and then how much time goes into it. Because one other little secret for me, and I know you experience this too, is it doesn't stop with just the one product. Like promotion is a big part. So you want to chop up the social clips, you want to put together like the social share copy, and that takes time as well.
Yep. Love that. And for those that don't know what we're talking about, the SEO Weekly, it's called the SEO Weekly, right? It's you comb the entire internet. I mean, I'm here combing YouTube. You have Twitter, you have Reddit, you have LinkedIn. You're pulling so many SEO sources built together in 1 week. I mean, that's so awesome, man.
It's fun, right, dude? Like we geek out over this stuff.
And I'd say like when you're in the process of doing that too, like, and for those even that wants to start doing something similar, you learn a lot by doing that, right? When you kind of like create your core, what you're gonna say online, whatever you can teach, you're learning twice, right? Because you're reading it, you're understanding it, and you're like sharing it out with the world.
Oh yeah. I mean, like I'd say whatever you're doing, do your passion, right? But like if you're into something like we are into SEO, you're reading this and you see all what these brilliant people come up with. You're like, oh, that makes so much sense. And the other thing is, I like to share. Like we're the same. Like I like to educate. I like to, surface underrepresented voices to our industry. So a big part of it is not only getting to learn all of it, but like finding those diamonds of people who are like producing great SEO processes and insights and strategies, but nobody's seeing it.
Yep. And you said a key word there, because this is something that I feel like even with anyone's career is processes. Being able to create processes, whether you have an agency or within, an in-house SEO, creating those processes will make you like an awesome SEO. That's lovely. Okay, so I want to go into, so you guys, if you have any questions, ask them in the live chat. I saw a hobby is asking a bunch of them here. I mean, you can pick one of them. Let me see which one do you see it? Can you see them there, Garrett? I mean, I'm not sure. Let's pick one here. What's do you do SERP tracking? If yes, how many mobile and desktop SERP do you track per week?
So I think it's a good question, but it's also maybe not the right question, because it's not in terms of quantity. I don't think the number will be helpful. I do think rank tracking is really interesting, and it's changing because SERPs are changing so much. So the way I'm looking at rank tracking is not only just thinking the old school way, right? Which is like the top 10 blue links. Like, am I ranking 1 for 10? Like, what is, Google Search Console telling me? No, I'm thinking about it more like pixel heights. Like, are you on page 1? Are you above the fold? Is your audience even finding you on desktop versus mobile? Like we work for an agency. People are looking mostly on desktop, whereas like if you are e-commerce, you have to be all about those mobile SERPs. Or if you're local, you have to be about those mobile SERPs. So the way I'm thinking about rank tracking is the device, the rich snippets that are showing up in the SERPs and how they're affecting, and like what my click-through rate ultimately is. So I think it's a much more complicated question these days.
Love that. And you actually touched something that I've actually have been pushing myself. It's not about page one, but owning page one pixels. Like dominating the amount of real estate on page one is much more important now, which leads me to like what we're also talking about, how important video is, because video can take up a lot more pixels on page one if you get a video ranking on page one. Love that. All right, so I want to go into our last topic of today is on local SEO, because this is something that is dear to your heart. This is something that you've actually, I believe this is where you started like doing like a lot of your SEO. So I'm curious, can you like tell us your local SEO background? Because you said you were doing it for, was it what you were doing your own for a company?
So this was like Grade Us, which is a software tool. It's really interesting because they help small businesses and larger businesses now get online reviews from their customers, right? And online reviews are really tricky because they matter in terms of as like a ranking factor, like, and it makes sense, right? Like if you're looking for a pizza joint near you, like you're going to want to find a pizza joint that has great pizza. And how are you going to get that? Find out if it has great pizza? It's what people are saying about that pizza in the reviews. The tricky thing is, there's a lot of scams out there where people like buy reviews that's against Google's guidelines and they don't always get rid of them. There's ways to manipulate reviews, and yet they're still so valuable for local SERPs. And then, so as I was doing this, I realized that, the local SEO algorithm is different than universal. And a lot of SEOs don't realize how different it is for local than it is for just a general SERP. And so, like, for instance, the biggest thing is proximity, right? Like if you want to show up for someone searching for a near me type of query, your business actually needs to be relatively close to where that person is searching from, because Google wants to provide the best results. If you're searching for near me and you're too far off, then that's not a great result. So local's fascinating. There's so many factors that go into it, and it's been updated a lot recently.
Love that. So is there any ways to optimize it near me? Like you said, like the proximity. Have you been able to like optimize that proximity in local SEO?
I think that creating content that's specified to a geographical area, that's not just doorway pages, like not just like putting thin content because you have like every city around like in the local area is going to generate it. I think the best thing that you can do is actually create deep local content. Now that's no guarantee, because proximity, you can't game the system, and that's the whole point. It's like literally based on the location. But I think you can give yourself a best chance, especially if there aren't a lot of competitors or there isn't a lot of content in your area. Like in a city, it's going to be hard, right? But if you are in, the suburbs of Oakland or Northern Virginia, you're going to have a better chance of showing up for a local SERP than if you're in New York City.
Love that. Okay, so I wanted to go into something that let me see. It wasn't the tip of my tongue, but you just mentioned it. Oh, the reviews. Okay, so you mentioned like reviews actually had a big part of for local SEO, and you also mentioned like people will buy reviews, but you work for a company that help with the reviews. So what's the difference between buying the reviews and your company that help with the reviews, and how are you optimizing reviews?
Oh man. Okay, so it is hard in the sense that a lot of people don't want to write reviews, and there is a subset, whether you're thinking about those Yelpers or those Google local guides who write tons of reviews, but for the most part, your customers don't want to write reviews, and so you actually have to ask them. Now, people are generous and they're happy to support your business if you like their business, but if you don't ask them, you could put your signs up in your window to leave us a review, but a lot of times people don't do that. So the software is basically sending people a text or sending people an email after they visited their business to leave a review. The tricky thing is, so like Google allows you to ask for reviews, but technically you can't ask them to only write a positive review, and you can't incentivize them saying, hey, we'll give you a discount next time if you give us a positive review. That's against their rules. Yelp's even worse. Like Yelp says you can't ask for reviews at all. And that's a whole different SEO search engine. But it's tricky because business owners need to generate these reviews because what people write in the reviews actually have value, the keywords in the review. So that's another way to optimize, is by almost prompting your customers to say, hey, did you like the pool at our hotel? Leave us a review. And maybe they'll think, oh, I'm going to mention, the pool at the hotel, and then that'll show up in the local search pack as like a kind of interstitial, like a annotation, justification. That's the word.
Love that. So, I mean, were you also like kind of like guiding some, because you said the pool, but have you been guiding like certain keywords in those reviews when you're asking them?
Yeah, I mean, like, there's no rule against saying like what you can ask for the review to be about. You just can't really incentivize it. And you do always want to pay attention to Google's guidelines because they have been shifting. Like, part of the tool which ran into issues was this whole idea of review gating. It was a really smart tool. Basically, it would say, if you go to this landing page and if you left 5 stars on the landing page, you would go and be prompted to write the review. But if you left 1 star on the landing page, it would actually redirect you to the customer support team and write like why you're upset and almost prevent you from writing a negative review. And Google has said recently that that's against their guidelines, that you can't, guide towards the positive review in that sort of way and prevent them from writing negative. So it's a very interesting kind of gray hat area.
Love that. Okay, I see. Wow, we actually have spam bots now in live shows. We have hot girls here. What is this saying? What's going on here? All right, guys. I'm coming down to my last question. If you guys have any more questions, please ask them in the live chat. But I'm gonna go ahead and ask, this is the last question I always ask all my SEO professionals that come on board. If someone wants to become an SEO professional themselves, get in the industry, what are some advice you would give them?
Build a website, learn from experience. I think, it's not going to be easy, but the best thing you can do is learn how websites work, set up your website, get it indexed on Google, try to rank for some specific keywords, and then just read like crazy, like experiment, test, do it yourself, read,
Love that. Okay. So I want to, if there's any last words that can make this episode complete for you, please. And how can people get hold of you?
Oh man, I love SEO. I appreciate you, Dre. And so all I would say is, whether it's for Dre or any SEO podcast or video show that you watch, do the good deed and subscribe and like and share comments, because we know engagement is really huge for these shows and it helps us. So I'd say support your local SEO video show guy or podcaster. But you can find me. I'm a Twitter guy for the most part. So at Garrett Sussman on Twitter.
All right. Now, this is the final question I always ask all my SEO professionals is any special talent you want to share? Can you sing, rap, show us a magic trick?
Dude, I've been threatening iPullRank, the agency that I work for, which you can find at iPullRank Agency on Twitter as well, or iPullRank.com, is I was going to do a rap or a song. Back in the day, I did We Didn't Start the Fire with 90s lyrics, which was, it's gone in the abyss of the internet. I don't want to embarrass myself.
All right.
Can you lay down a beat and I can freestyle embarrassingly?
Oh, I don't know. Let me see. I could probably drop one of these, one of the beats I play on the beginning of the show. Let's see. Let me know what you can do here. Let's see. Let me try to play this here.
This is the opposite of special talent.
Oh.
Okay. When you want to do SEO, you need to play. You check the video show with my man here, Dre. You're gonna have your internal links, and then you chit back and throw back a drink. It's Halloween, and I'm on the scene. My name is Garrett Sussman, and you know what I mean. My rhymes are fat, my ranks are dank. Check out me at Agency I Pull Rank. Love it.
Thank you, Garrett, so much for dropping that. If you could please hold on for one quick second. Love that. All right, guys. That concludes another episode of the SEO Video Show. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And I will see you next week. Peace out. Man, that was dope, Garrett.
Yeah. Hey, time to get it started. No delay. delay, let's work. Wanna see you be an SEO expert. Paul Andre this week, make sure to subscribe. You don't wanna miss a thing, hope you learn something new, cause the vibe is incredible. From the special SEO professionals, SEO video show, let's work. Wanna see you be an SEO expert. Paul Andre DeVera helping you step it up. No delay, right now, time to level up. Hey, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe. Woo!